What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Red and Blue Site YouTube channel. It's time for another Palace preview. Big game of the weekend. 3 o'clock tomorrow. We are playing Burnley, of course. Sean Dyche already got better of us once this season. Disappointing result in the reverse fixture up at Burnley, and a game where it was just very poor, lacklustre. Very similar to the Leeds game that we've just had, and less said about that the better. I mean, thank you so much for all your comments on those videos. I read every single one, and a lot of great points made by people, a lot of stuff I agree with, some that I don't, but that's what I love about doing this channel and making these videos for you guys, is that there's a plethora of different opinions and thoughts regarding Palace, Leeds, etc., whoever we're playing against, and it's just really interesting to read, and in a friendly way, nothing very toxic, which is what I like, and just to talk about certain points and to see how people react to games in the chat. Obviously the Leeds game was awful, and just touching on that, I think it was very I think Bamford said in his post-match interview, and it was typical he was going to score. I knew we all said before the game it would be typical for Bamford to score against us, and he did, and he took it well. I know it was pretty much an open goal for him, but he took it well. He said after the game that you could hear Gary Cahill saying that we're not on it today. We're not on it. It's far too slow, and getting annoyed. And it was obvious, and Gary Cahill was right. It was far too slow, and it caused pressure on the back line, caused pressure on the keeper as well, because we couldn't keep the ball because of how slow we were trying to play out. And that's been our problem all season. And it goes back, and I feel like a broken record saying this, but we are an ageing squad, and that is the problem, trying to play quick counter-attacking football with a squad this old. It's too slow. The thought process is you're just a little bit slower than you were 5-6 years ago, and maybe that's a bit disrespectful for some of these players, but for others, it's just not good enough. And in games like this against Leeds, it just came across to me as if we were quite scared going away to Ellen Road, and I don't see why we should have been. We've beaten them 4-1 this season by playing them at their own game, trying to press them high up the pitch and putting them under pressure. I think if you put Leeds under pressure, their defence was, there were times we were very poor against Leeds. Don't get me wrong, we were very poor, but there were times there where we did get in behind them. Only a couple of times, bear in mind. I'm not going to say that we deserved anything from the game. We deserved to lose. Leeds deserved to win, definitely, but there were still times where we looked like we could have at least got a shot on target, or we opened them up. Ayew missed 2 absolute sitters, and we should have at least tested Meslier for one of them, if not scored them. So even playing poorly, there was a chance to get at Leeds if we put them under pressure, but it just felt like we weren't at the races for it. But anyway, moving on, hopefully we learn from that and we take that into this game, which is going to be very important. It's important we bounce back and show something in this, not just, for the fans, if anything. Hopefully they gain a bit of pride after that result, because I know it was only a 2-0, and it might be me over-exaggerating or us over-exaggerating. I know a lot of Palace fans are upset about it as well. But it was the manner of the defeat, and it's been this typical story this whole season. It's okay to lose. I mean, it's not okay to lose, but if we are going to lose in a way that's respectful, and by respectful I mean you put respect on your name, and you don't let yourself and the team down. And I don't feel like we did that against Leeds. It felt like we kind of just rolled over and let it happen, and we didn't show any fight at all, and that's what was frustrating about it. And so, it's just, against Newcastle, for example, we came back and won that game. We looked like we could be in for a rough night, conceding early against a Newcastle side that very similar to us, liked to sit deep and liked to soak up pressure and try and grind out results. But our response in that game was fantastic, and it was because we were clinical. We were, apart from Townsend, of course, and we were clinical where we needed to be. We were direct. We were quite quick on the counter-attack in that game. And we just looked up for it a lot more, and we were clinical from set pieces as well. Defensively, things need to improve, definitely, going into this Burnley game, and our response to going behind. We need to, the stats still show when we go behind, our percentage, the amount of points we earn from going behind is very, very small compared to the points we get going 1-0 up. That's been the case for since Roy came in, that's been the case, really, and the stats back that up. So Burnley, it's so important we get the first goal. So focusing more on the Burnley game now, that's a kind of a build-up to this game. My thoughts in general about Leeds and the disaster at Ellen Road. Coming into this game, Selhurst, we got to just show a response. As I said, we've got to show a bit more fight, a bit more character, and you know, it's games like this, in the position we are on the table, we're safe. And I don't think, and I'll be very surprised if any Palace fans debate that we're safe. We're safe. We've got the points on the board. We've got a gap. There are definitely three worse teams than us in the division, 100%. What do the squad want now for the rest of the season? It's all down to the players now with what they want. Do they want to just hang about and do what they did last season, which was just bottle the last 7 games and just see it out and not care and cause a bit of an embarrassment, you know, of themselves and the club, and to upset the fans in that regard for not trying and not trying to show any ambition as players, let alone, I know the club and the bigger picture in terms of ambition and where Palace are aiming for that's a bigger picture, but as players, what is their ambition? And last 7 games of last season showed that their ambition was just to get on the beach. It's now it's now at that point in this season. Is your ambition to finish in the top 10, which I think is a realistic goal for us now, and it should be the target we aim for in terms of stepping stones to trying to get up the league. Top 10 is what we should be aiming for, definitely, and that's where. And if we finish top 10, I'll be very, very happy with this season. Will the players try and fight for that top 10, or are they very happy with just lingering around, you know, 1-2 wins, 2 defeats sort of form, you know, and just see out the season? I'll be so disappointed if that's the case. And this game against Burnley is a prime example of a game we should be looking to go in and win it. We shouldn't be looking for anything else. Leeds, we should have been looking to go and win that game as well. Obviously, we didn't, and we didn't show up on the day. Hopefully against Burnley. Last season against Burnley, we didn't really show up either. Far too slow. The reverse fixture, we didn't show up against Burnley. We've got to show some sort of fight in this game. I can't reiterate that enough. Just for the fans, if anything, to show some fight and show that you actually care about finishing this season on a high and trying to get, you know, as high up the league as possible. I know that the players deep down do think that, but it's whether as a collective they can pull it out the bag on the day when it matters. It's all good on social media talking the talk, but can you walk the walk? And I know a handful of players can and do every single week. Eze, Wilf, Riedewald, in my opinion. I know he was poor against Leeds, but the whole team were poor. Vicente, by the way, big up Vicente. I had to buy it from Clad All Over. Go and check out the shop, guys. It's great stuff on there. Vicente as well. There's a handful of players that have been great this season and are putting in performances week in, week out, or as close to week in, week out as possible. Others need to step it up and show that they care. Against Burnley, of course, their threats come with the long ball, set pieces, which we've been so poor from this season. We look, every time there's a corner or free kick, we always look like we're going to concede. And I don't know what's gone on there, because we used to be very, very good at the back. As you know, as short as last season, it was literally less than 6 months ago. We were very good at, you know, defending. And all of a sudden, in fact, last season, the only reason we stayed up was because of Gary Cahill and the solidity he brought to the defence, and in general, the defensive form from last season was the only reason we stayed up in the end, and Ayew's goals, of course. All of a sudden, that's kind of just gone out the window. I don't know if it's because everyone's a year older. I don't know what it is, but they need to sort themselves out, especially from set pieces. We lose the first header so many times. And against Burnley, I can see Ben Mee rising up and nodding one in. Chris Wood, Tarkowski. I can see any of these players scoring against us. Got to sort ourselves out from set pieces. It's going to be key in this game. Obviously, Sean Dyche likes to counter-attack, and obviously more on Sean Dyche and his links to Palace, and as well as Eddie Howe, etc. I will be doing a video on the next Palace manager and my thoughts on who it should be and why. That'll probably be a bit more of a lengthy video, so stay tuned for that soon. I think that's a big topic that we need to address, because Roy's coming to the end of his time at Palace, whether he likes it or not. I think it just, you know, it's the end of his contract, and even if he does sign a new one, it probably will only be 1 year. So more on that to come. But Sean Dyche, you know how he likes to play. He plays how we want to play, which is direct. Obviously direct when it needs to be, but looking to break quickly. Built on a solid defensive structure, which is good. I like that in a side. I loved what, I know it was boring last season, but I loved watching us keep clean sheets and winning 1-0 and 2-0. Winning is entertaining to me. I know that's another debate, and probably another video I'll do on is in terms of, are Palace entertaining? Should we be changing because of entertainment's sake? For me, if we get a win, I don't really care how it comes, because I don't think I'm in the position to demand anything of the side or feel like I'm owed anything, you know, in terms of a performance. A win is entertaining to me. Doesn't matter how it comes. Winning 1-0 or winning, obviously I prefer to win 4-5-0. Of course, everyone does, but in the end of the day, 1-0 is the same as a 5-0. The 3 points for both scorelines, and if we defend really, really well for 90 minutes against a team like Burnley, and then we pluck up a 90th minute winner, it's happy days, and that we're further up the table, and that's good for me, in my opinion. But more on that on another video, of course. There's plenty of videos coming, guys. Trust me, there's loads of topics we can talk about. But with Burnley, I think we'll go with the same team that played against Leeds, if I'm honest. I feel like potentially we'll see Van Aanholt come in, and Mitchell had a poor game against Leeds. It was his first real poor game, and I thought he was isolated up against Rafinha. He needed help out there, and he didn't really get it. But that's no excuse for him. He probably should have done better in general. But that, you know, that shows how well he's doing, that we're expecting better performances from him at such a young age. He's had a fantastic season. I don't know whether he'll play in this game. I do feel like it'll be Van Aanholt will probably drop back into left back. He tried something new, Roy, but will he go 4-4-2? I think he will, but I was very impressed with how he set up against Wolves in our last home game when we went 4-2-3-1. It just worked. And at home, going 4-2-3-1 is a great setup for me. I think we should be doing that in most games. Eze in behind the striker. That is how we should be playing. Mateta up front, Eze in behind. That's what I want to see. I want to see a 4-2-3-1. Will Roy do it or go do a 4-4-2? Let's see, okay? Counter-attacking, as I said, is key in this game. Being clinical when the chances come, because you know there's only going to be a few. Burnley have scored less goals than us this season. Their problems have been scoring goals, not so much the defence. They've been defending okay. Had a slow start to the season, but in general, their defence has been okay. Better than ours, I'd say, definitely, in terms of goals that, you know, clean sheets and goals that they've kept out. Their problem is scoring goals the other end. And that should fill us with confidence. That should fill us with confidence that we should go out there with... We shouldn't be scared of Burnley. We should be going out there trying to play good football and trying to break on the counter and get up the pitch and put pressure on them. This is a really important fixture. We've got to bounce back from the Leeds game. I'm going 2-0 Palace because I think this is a game that the players will be up for, and it will take a moment of magic like Eze to weave in and out, and I think get that goal that we need. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Big game. Let me know your thoughts on Burnley. Any Burnley fans watching, how you think you'll set up, if you agree with my thoughts. Score predictions as well. Team lineups, as I said, I think be the same team. Hopefully set up 4-2-3-1. Maybe Tip Mitchell dropping out and Van Aanholt dropping back, and Townsend starting out wide, because obviously we're still out. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, share, subscribe. And yeah, big game tomorrow. Stay tuned on the channel for more content.